Right, I've put this rather boring video together to help people that have difficulty updating the time and date and flashing the firmware on the HD 808 cameras. Now I'm going to be using the Jumbo HD 808 camera, although this will work just as well with the original HD 808 number 11 camera. Now these cameras record at 1280 by 720 using H.264 and create files with a name like that. So if your camera doesn't do this, it's not one of these, and don't try the following. Now to make things easy and simple for this video, I've put the files required on my website, which is techmoan.com. So type that into your browser, and on the right you'll see files and drivers. So click on that, and then at the top there's HD 808 and Jumbo HD 808 files. So obviously click on that, and there's 3 files inside there. There's 2 different firmwares and there's a time set file. So I'm going to download all 3 of these onto my computer. Now I'm using a Mac, but the process that I'm doing is pretty much identical on a PC, it's just the things are in different places. So I'm sure you can follow it if you've got a PC. Now I've got the 3 files in a folder here. These are the ones I've just downloaded. So we're going to be using all 3 of these files in this video. Right, the first thing we'll do is set the time. So we'll see what time the camera thinks it is by recording a brief clip. So I'll turn it on, here we are, record a clip now, just pointed at the computer for a second, and then stop and turn off by holding down the power button. Right, now I'm not going to use a memory card reader this time, I'm going to do it all with the camera. So we'll plug the USB lead into the camera itself, tap it to turn it on, wait a second, and wait for the drive to appear on the desktop. There it is, so let's have a look what's on it. In the DCIM folder and in the one inside that, there's the video that I've just recorded, so let's have a look. And as you can see, it thinks it's the 20th of June 2010 at 3:42 PM, which isn't correct, so we're going to go and change that now. So the timeset.txt file that you've downloaded from my website, I'll enlarge that so you can see it. That's what time is in there, and all we're going to do is type over those dates and times using the date and time that I actually want to put into the camera. Now I'm not changing any formatting, deleting any colons or anything, leaving it exactly the same and just saving it over the top of the file. So now we've got the memory card at the bottom right there and the timeset.txt file, and all we're doing is dragging it onto the memory card or onto the camera, and then now there's 3 things in that root folder there. Those 2 folders and the timeset file. So we'll eject it from the computer and we'll let the power go off, and then we'll switch it on again. Now the camera's updated its time, and to prove that we'll just record another brief video like this and then stop it again, power down, and connect it back to the computer. Now one thing I'll mention while I'm doing this, the timeset.txt file gets read by the camera and then deleted, so it won't show up when you connect the camera back to the computer again, as you'll see in this first folder that pops up. If we look into that, there's just the 2 files there now. The timeset.txt file has vanished. But let's have a look at the second video we've just recorded now, and as you'll see, the time has changed to the 31st of July 2011 at 17:05. So that's worked fine. Right, now the next thing is, let's try and delete the the timestamp completely. So we'll go into the folder that I've created here, which says without timestamp. Drag this bin file into that camera again, just like we did with the timeset.txt file. So there's 3 things in that folder, and we'll eject the camera again and unplug it. Let it power down, which takes about a second. Now this time, when we switch it on, you'll notice nothing's happening at all. Now you've just got to be patient now and wait, maybe 20 seconds. What it's doing is it's updating the firmware. Now you're best doing this with a fully charged camera, otherwise you might run into difficulty. But there you go, it's flashing now, and that means it's updated the firmware. Now the next thing we have to do, we can't use the camera yet, we have to delete that firmware file that we've just put on there, otherwise it'll just keep reflashing every time we turn it on. So again, we'll connect it up to the computer. Now notice when I've tapped it here, there's another delay. We've got to wait a little bit longer for it to turn up as a drive. So you just got to be patient at these parts, don't rush anything. Right, now the drive has shown up, so we can have a look on it. Now, unlike the timeset file, the bin file is still there, so we've got to delete that from the file area there and eject the camera again, unplug it, and let it power off. And now this time when we power on, it should come on pretty quickly again like it normally does. And that means it's all ready to go, so we can record another video now. And this video, remember, should have no timestamp on it at all, because that's what we've just done to the camera. So again, power down. I'm sorry about the delays here in this video. Unfortunately, some of these things do take a few seconds to happen. There's nothing I can do about that. So we'll switch it back on again, connect it up to the computer, have a look on the drive, see what file we've just recorded there and have a look at it. So that's number 3, let's have a look. And there you go, at the bottom right, no timestamp at all. So that was easy. Right, now the other thing I'll mention, notice the times and dates here. They do show the time and date for the date the file was created. Now, if your files are showing that they were created on a date other than the accurate date, you can change that, even if you've deleted the timestamp like I've just done now. So what we'll do again, we'll use the timeset.txt file and update the time on the camera. Even though the time isn't going to be showing on the screen, it's going to change the timestamp that shows on the files you've created. So we'll just make up a date here, the 15th of August 2011. We'll save that over the top of the timeset.txt file again, and then we're going to just drag it onto that memory card like we did last time. So there you go. And we'll just eject it again. And we'll unplug it, let it power down again. Switch it on again. And we'll just record a brief file, doesn't really matter what, we'll just wave the hand in front to make this one a little bit different. Power it down, reattach it to the computer again, switch it on, wait for the drive to show up, there we go, click on it, so this should be file number 4 if my calculations are correct. So there we go, number 4. Let's have a look at that. So there you go, wave your hand, great. Now, if you look at that, the time has changed on the file there to the 15th of August, even though there was no time showing on the screen. Now let's get the camera back to how it was when we first started off. So we'll go in the folder that says with timestamp, and we'll drag that bin file onto the camera. We'll eject it again. Unplug, wait for the power to go off. Again, remember, switch on and wait, because it's going to take a while to update that firmware. Sorry about the shaky hands here. I'm a bit low on sugar, I think, at the moment. There we go. Light has flashed. That means the firmware's updated and it's switched on. We've got to switch it off again. And we're going to attach it back to the computer. And remember, there's a delay again here when you first attach it to a computer after flashing the firmware. So we're just waiting for that light to come on. And there you go. Right, so let's have a look at what's on that one. There's that bin file that we don't want. We'll just change it into the icon view. So we'll delete that again. Eject it. Unplug, let it power down, switch it on again, take a brief video, switch it off, and you'll be glad to know this is the final thing that I'm doing in this video. We'll switch it back on again, have a look what's on the camera. I think this is number, is it 5 that we're up to now? Let's have a look. There we go, number 5. There you go, time and date are back on it again as when we first started off. So, in about 9.5 minutes, we've done 2 flashes, we've updated the time twice, and that's how you do that with an HD8, number 11, or a Jumbo HD8 camera. So I hope you found this useful if you were having difficulties. And thanks for watching.